Welcome to Shema Shova Nadav Shir's Elui Nishmas, my wife's grandfather, Rav Zev ben Tzvi Halevi, Zeichet Tzaddik Livrocho, who was nifter this week. We're holding in Menachos Daf Tezvov. The Gemara, towards the end of Amud Beis, explains the Shita of Rabbanon, that the pigul of Behemah does not affect the Nesachim, because Adam Mevi Zivchoy Hayoy Min Nesachov Ad Asar Yomim. The Nesachim doesn't have to come together with the Zevach, it can come afterwards. And the mashros of the Gemara is that it can come, even lechatchila, you could bring the Nesachim later. This Gemara leads us to a beautiful discussion regarding something which is very negya halacha l'maisa. The Gemara in Brachas Daf Yudal Amud Beis says, "Kol hakoyre kriyashra beloy tefilin, keilu meid edus sheker be'atzmai." Someone who says Shema without wearing tefillin, so as if he's saying Edus Sheker, because he says in Shema, Kshatim lo yisal yodecho, v'yutu tofois beinenecho, and he's not wearing tefillin. Continues the Gemara and says, Ki'ilu yikriv oilo b'loi mincha v'zevach b'loi nesachim. It's as if someone is bringing a korban without nesachim. He's not doing it in a complete way. It's like a korban which is missing the nesachim. And also the person says kriyash without tefillin is missing the tefillin. The poskim have a discussion. Is it okay for a person to say Shema before he puts on tefillin? For example, if he sees his man Kriyashva is going to be, he's going to miss man Kriyashva with a minyan. He wants to say Shema before. Can he say Shema without wearing tefillin? Or you have the problem in the Gemara that says anybody who says Shema below tefillin is a problem. Could you say Shema without tefillin or not? They want to say it depends on the machlekes that's brought down, Shulchan Aruch, the machlekes of the Ramon, the Marashal. If one should say in the beginning of davening, Shema Yisrael, should he say it or not? Because it says the Ramon says to say it, because if not, maybe he's going to miss Ban Kriyashba. But Marshal says don't say it, you're now wearing tefillin. So the Poiskim discuss it. It's brought down in the Sefer Emek Yehoshua Achron. He brings in the name of the Chayzim Lublin that he said you could say Shema without tefillin, put on tefillin later. How do we know that? From our Gemara. Because the Gemara in Brachas compares someone who says Shema without tefillin like someone who brings a zevach without nesachim. But our Gemara tells us you can bring nesachim 10 days later. So as long as you bring the nesachim, you're fine. So also here, when the Gemara tells us that a person has to say Shema with tefillin, means that he must put tefillin that day. If he doesn't put tefillin that day, so that's the problem, like zevach b'lo nesachim. But if he's going to put tefillin later, that same day, that should be fine. Like bringing the nesachim after you bring the zevach. And he says many tzadikei adoris agree to that. Then there's another sefer called Levushim Mordechai in Chelik Lisoy or Chaim Simenei that he brings from the sefer Likutim Minhagim b'shem Kama Gedolim v'Tzadikim Shenohagu Ken. And so he brings the name of Shulchan Aruch Harav. And there's another raya to this because Rashi in Parshas Bolak B'Midbar Perek Chav Gimel Pasuk Chav Dalet on the pasuk Heim Am Kelovi Yakum. So it says Rashi, when they wake up from their sleep, Shachis, Hemizgabrim Kelovi Ukeori, they get up like a lion, to do mitzvahs. What is it? Lilvoish talis, wear a talis. Likor says Shema, Ulanich Tefillin. First it says Shema, then Tefillin. Why Shema before Tefillin? You should put Tefillin before Shema. Elama, you want to tell me that there's no problem to say Shema without Tefillin? Say Shema first. And the Sefer Beis Yitzchak, or Chaim Simen Yud Zayin, he answered that maybe it's even better to say Shema before the Tefillin. Because the Shema, you have it day and night. Tefillin is only Zman HaBayayim and not on Shabbos. So Yimele, it's Tadir. The Shema is more Tadir than Tefillin. So Shema should be said before you put on Tefillin. Just to mention that the Rav Shlomo Kluger in his Tshuva Sefer Helev L'Chashloimo or Chaim Simen Shinun Daled, he says you can't bring a raya from our Gemara than the Nesachim you can bring later, because Nesachim has nothing to do with the korban. Just when a person brings a korban, he needs to bring Nesachim as well. So you can bring Nesachim also afterwards. But tefillin, really the Ikar din is to wear tefillin the entire day. Not supposed to wear tefillin only when you're davening. Ikar din tefillin, a person needs to be loivish tefillin the whole day. So a person is not wearing tefillin now, but he's going to wear tefillin a few minutes later, so he's putting in tefillin for a few minutes later, but he's not putting tefillin for now. So yes, we put in tefillin only during davening, but during davening you should have tefillin the entire davening. And putting a tefillin later does not help you for the fact that he didn't have tefillin when he said Kriyashba originally, so he argues. One last siyum we'll mention over here is Rahun Margolios and his Sefer Nefesh Chaya and Simon Chafei and Siv Beis. There is medayek from Sefer Hazoyah that the reason why a person should not daven without tefillin Because people will think that he doesn't believe in tefillin. He says it's similar to someone who goes behind the shul when the tzibur is davening. So people will say he doesn't want to join the minyan. But if there's another shul in town, then there's no issue. Because you could say maybe he's davening the other shul. So a person davens and he doesn't have tefillin, so then it looks like he's not going to put on tefillin because he's already davening. But Kriya Shema, everybody knows you can say Kriya Shema again. So the fact you don't put Kriya, you don't have tefillin when you say Kriya Shema the first time, as long as when you say the second time you'll be fine, it's not an issue that people will think that he doesn't believe in tefillin. And then he points out that Rashi Bamidbar maybe wants to say it's not such a good rayo, but if that's saying discussion, which is based on our Gemara, can the Sachib come after the korban? Anyone who wants to join or sponsor the Shomachshava Shirim, please email shomachshava@gmail.com.